Hello all you paranormal pondering people. Welcome back to Michelle's Paranormal Pathways. This is part 2 of the Milton Twist Road UFO incident that really inspired me to delve into trying to figure out what the paranormal was. It was all around me, and this particular incident was the key that sent me on my serious journey in 1979. I'm going to play the video clips in just a moment. And, you know, leave your comments. Like, have you ever heard anything like this sound before? If you live near the Milton area and decide to go over to Twist Road, you know, please be respectful of the people that live out there now. I doubt, with it being as built up as it is now, that there's going to be anything there. When I look at the pictures on Google Maps, I don't really sense anything. So let's get down to brass tacks. What was the video that brought all this together? I was watching Bigfoot videos by Small Town Monsters, and I happened upon this particular video. It's part of a series called Beyond the Trail, and they've got a whole pile of them under this particular title, done in sort of a documentary style. I really enjoy watching these guys. I like the way they delve into trying to figure out what things are. They're not just, you know, an ordinary bunch of guys going out. I mean, they're a bunch of ordinary guys going out trying to figure out what's going on. They're based in Oregon. So if you want to find this particular video, type in Bigfoot Mountain Small Town Monsters and it will automatically pop up. It was actually originally posted September 2021. I really recommend these guys. They're fun to watch, they're entertaining, and they do some good work. I mean, not all of it is great, but they are definitely entertaining. If you're looking for the clip location, the first clip that I will show you, it starts around 25 minutes in, and this particular young gentleman hears a sound. They don't know what it is. I automatically knew that, to me, it sounded like an owl. They took it to an expert, and it's like, yep, it was a barred owl. But because of the way things echo in the location where he was, it sounded a little weird, so they checked it out, and that really impressed me. Then the two videos that sent me back to 1979 start at about 30:27. So if you start at 30 minutes in and let it play through like I will, it's that second video that really got the hairs on my arms standing up and sort of threw me back to Twist Road, boom, all in one split second. So, you know, if you've ever heard anything like this, you know, please leave a comment down below. It's something that I haven't heard anything like this in over 43 years until these two video clips. Very interesting. Let's go over to the computer. I will show you the clips, and then I will go to Google Maps. I will show you the area. I should bring my glasses over there so I can read the map. So let's just quickly transfer over. I've got it all set up. At least that was the plan. This is the young man who actually hears something weird. They can't figure out what it is. Let me see if I can zoom in and get it. There we go. We've got sound up.
Echoed across here, but no one else heard it, just me, I guess.
Yeah, well, we were up at camp working on our food, so it was loud, you know, mixing stuff. We weren't paying attention.
It sounded like it came from over there, I ain't gonna lie.
Later on in the evening, as we were relaxing, we began to hear vocalizations from across the lake.
some sort of vocalization.
Okay, that was the first one that turned out to be an owl. And because it had that weird ethereal kind of a sound, it was an owl with echoes from the mountains in the background. So it's this next video is the two clips. These were the ones that sent me back to 1979, especially the second one.
A few years back, I was camping in Mountain National Forest out by this lake, and I was out there for a couple days, didn't see any people. I had audio going the whole time. I reviewed the audio a couple months later, right, because I was just curious. I never went through it all, nothing Bigfooty happened, so I thought I should do my actual job and listen to everything I recorded while I was out there. So I did, and on the evening of the first night, I recorded this. My first thought was, who the hell is playing jazz music out in the woods? That's the spookiest thing I've ever heard. And so I just kind of disregarded it and didn't think about the sound again for a couple years, until a couple days ago, when Ron was in here.
So I was trying to find a place to stay, and so there's this area that's like kind of like a hunting camp off to the side, and it gets traffic. The other night there were some people camping there, but a lot of the times it's vacant. And within 30 minutes I started to hear some knocks, but they didn't sound right. They sounded almost like on an artificial surface. I ended up getting a Yeti mic and a computer and recording that way instead of a field recorder. It got quiet for a long time. I started to go into my car. I reclined the seat in the driver's seat and just kept the laptop there and the mic on top of the vehicle. And I heard something at about 1:45 in the morning, and I couldn't hear it very well being inside the vehicle, but I hit the record button, and it was some pretty unusual vocalizations that was almost like what you would expect from like some Sasquatch howls, but they had like a melodic, like a melody like pitch that sounded pretty unusual.
I was being interviewed by you guys for the thing, and he had this weird piece of audio he recorded the night before, and it's like, I don't know what this is, listen to this. And I thought, that sounds like the same thing that I recorded. And he didn't know about the thing that I recorded. And those two places, like where he was camped and where I was camped, were less than 5 miles away from each other. And it's weird. It sounds like the same voice. It's spooky. I don't know if it's a Sasquatch or not, but it's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard in the woods in my entire life.
And I have to agree with him. It is the weirdest thing that I have ever heard at night in the woods myself, and I have waited 43 years without telling people. I said I heard a weird sound, but without telling people precisely what it was. I had to wait a long time before it actually happened again. And of course, this was totally we thought a UFO incident. It wasn't until, several years ago that people started connecting UFOs, skylights, and Bigfoot together. So Hamilton, this is where I lived. This is Milton. Interesting to note, there was a lot of UFO activity in Hamilton, and a lot, like, serious paranormal stuff in Hamilton, which is connected to the limestone and the natural water sources, which I'll talk about at some point. But we saw lights and things disappear into the Hamilton Bay back then, which is something that happened. So Milton is over here. Twiss Road is over here. TWISS. Let's go to the head of the road. We would come down this road and turn onto Twiss. Now none of these factories and buildings were here. The two houses that I talk about were there, and that was it. There weren't farms and all sorts of stuff back there in 1979. But, you know, a lot of things changed in 43 years. So when we would turn onto Twiss Road, the tree that I talked about would have been right around where this driveway was. It was sort of close to the road, like right in around here. And if I'm recalling right, it reminds me of what an elm tree would have looked like. And we would have our little picnic, and then we would move on. Now, right here, well, there's the train tracks. The only light that had the swag lights, but there was no lighting. There was nothing. Oddly enough, I don't really remember this road. It might have been a, like in, you know, one of those, they call them, you know, unimproved roads. Like, it might have been gravel. But we weren't concerned about this road. We didn't turn down this road, so that could be why I'm not really remembering it. But everything was wooded, and if we back out, you can see there, it was all wooded. At times, in certain sections of the road, there were so many trees that it was dark in the daytime. So this is the section of the road. Now, I'm only referring to this area because it's rectangular shaped. It might have been a little closer to the road. But the two trailer-shaped houses were opposite each other. This driveway and house didn't exist, so there would have been a trailer-like shaped house here and another one here. And as time went on, the more times we went, the more uncanny the copying of the two houses got. And we actually would take note, you know, write down, okay, this is what it looked like this time, this is what it looked like this time. You never saw any people in the house, and the windows were huge and rarely covered. So that part was weird. The brown car, the tan station wagon, was parked over here. The man just sort of kind of appeared. He didn't come out of the house. He come from back here somewhere and started walking towards us. Whenever we stopped right about here. I'm not going to go to Street View because you just see trees. You won't be able to see anything. So he walked from this general area towards us, and it was almost like a time dilation of some sort where you could see him, and he looked like he was normally walking towards you, but it took forever for him to get to where we were, or it seemed that way. So when you drive over the train tracks, right in this little section, you started to get that creepy feeling, and it intensified when you were right in front of this house. Like, you knew the second you crossed those railroad tracks that there was something unusual going on. So when he was trying to step on the gas and the car was just so slowly creeping forward, there were times when we actually had compasses in the car, and the compasses they weren't like spinning like you see in movies. Very slowly going around. And it didn't matter whether it was on the dashboard, on the seat, the front seat between them, on the back seat by me. Like, we tried it in different spots to see if maybe the car was causing it. So when we took off, I'll give you a little bit of a back view. We came tearing down here, and the tree that appears in the middle of the road is quite a ways down, and we were just tearing down this road. And this was probably the section where the trees were almost completely over the entire road. Down, 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 down. We're getting close. We're getting close. There we go. There's this massive bend, and the big tree was right, and this could be the same tree, but it was right. So you come down, there's no lights, it's pitch black, all you have is your headlights. Then all of a sudden you see the tree, and that's when they would go, tree, and you would deke around the curve, and we would stop somewhere down in this area near, okay, there's the crossroad. So it would have been somewhere in this area is where we stopped and would talk about what happened. And we stopped in this general area several times. We also had an elemental, unusual experience in this area as well at a different time, which I will talk about at some other time. But this is where it is. I mean, if you live in that area and you want to go and experience the road, I doubt that there is anything really paranormal going on down there now, because it's so built up and it's so changed. The incident may have just been in that time frame between 1979 and 81, that sort of a time frame. We have really no explanation, and it was the thing that made me so curious. I knew something unusual was going on, and because of the incidences that I had before this, that was the in my face, I want to find out what's going on, coming from a science-based mind. I mean, it was obvious. There's evidence that something unusual is happening. Let's try and figure it out. And it's been like a close to 60-year thing for me, trying to figure out what's going on. So if you have any questions, if you have ever heard anything that sounds remotely similar to the clip, please leave your comments. Press the like if you want to. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and that, allows me to bring, okay, people are liking this. So if you have any questions about any subject, put them down there, and if I've had an experience, or if I know someone who has, I will gladly talk about it. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to have a little think about what we can chat about next time. Hopefully at some point we might be able to do some live chats, or, that would be a really cool thing to do. So have a wonderful day. The sun is finally starting to really shine and warm up, like we're edging up to 60 degrees. That in Fahrenheit, obviously, otherwise we'd all be dead. And I'll see you next time. Keep your eyes and your ears open, and if anything unusual happens, drop me a line. Have a great